Hey up guys, so it is that time of the year. Now that I'm back from Venice and TIFF, I feel like I've seen enough movies and performances to start talking about the Oscars. Yes, that's right, I'm coming at you back end of September to give you my first super early Oscar predictions video. Yeah. In this video, I'm going to be going through all the categories apart from the shorts because we just don't have enough information on the shorts yet for me to start theorizing those predictions, as we are 6 months away from the Academy Awards ceremony taking place in March 2023. These are just, theories, conjecture, based off of what I've seen or based off like the trailers and synopsises that I've read on the internet. So yeah, it's a guessing game really, but you guys have been really asking me to do a super early predictions video for you, so I'm doing it. All right, I've answered the call. You're welcome. Before we jump into the categories, I just want to let you guys know that I have written an Oscars prediction piece for the Evening Standard. Yep, that's right. Somebody paid me to give my early predictions for a national newspaper. That's kind of awesome. It's a really proud moment for me. I'm glad to be trusted enough to give people early Oscar predictions for a national newspaper. So please do check it out. I've left a link in the video description down below if you want to see my writing on 9 categories. So yeah, shall we jump into the categories though? Starting off with one of my favorites, and it's always a juicy category to discuss. It's Best Actress, of course. For all you newbies, as always, you're gonna see my current 5 picks, or in the case of Best Picture, 10 picks, and then listed below that are all other options, contenders that we could see show up in the 5 selection and come January time. But yeah, this is how I'm feeling right now at the moment. Right now, I have Michelle Yeoh at the top, only because that's who I want to see win. I can afford to take a chance because even though there's a long, long way until, we find out who the winner is, I still really do want to see Michelle Yeoh win this. And yeah, so I can afford to put her at the top now, but she does have some strong competition from Cate Blanchett in particular, who will be going for her 3rd Oscar, her 2nd Best Actress Oscar for her powerhouse performance in Tar, playing a fictional composer, Lydia Tar. This performance just blew everyone out of the water at Venice. Yeah, more and more people are going to see it soon and see just the tenacity of this performance from Cate Blanchett. And yes, she is a strong competitor. She could bump Michelle Yeoh off the top. We'll see how award season goes. But also, yeah, I've currently got Olivia Colman in as well for Empire of Light. Even though Empire of Light was met with mixed reviews in TIFF, I can still see Olivia Colman getting in because she's Olivia Colman, and the Academy loves Olivia Colman. So if she does get in, it'll be her 4th nomination, and like 4th in 5 or 6 years, which is insane. But yeah, I've currently got her there. She could squeeze out, we'll see. Shall we talk about the elephant in the room, which is Michelle Williams running for Best Actress? Good Lord, yes. Okay, this is how I feel about it. I am annoyed. Sorry. Because I genuinely thought after seeing The Fabelmans that Michelle Williams was going to be our frontrunner for Best Supporting Actress. Because guess what? Her performance is a supporting performance! Like, I can't wait for everyone else to see this and go, yes, it's clearly a supporting performance. She might be the main female performance in the film, but she's not the main character. So, yeah, she's in no way leading the film. It's all about young Steven Spielberg's character. He's not called Steven in it. I forget what his name is, but yeah, it's the lead boy and his journey, and his mum is there, and she does have a significant part in it, which is what makes it a good, juicy supporting role, but it's not a lead performance. So, I'm a little reluctant to put Michelle Williams in Best Actress at the moment, just because of the category fraud, but she is beloved, Michelle Williams, by the Academy. She's been nominated 4 times previously, and this could be her 5th. My concern is that, though, once people see The Fabelmans, are people going to say, no, she is a supporting performance? Like, why would we nominate her for lead? So there's many outcomes that could happen here. She could very well get into Best Actress and could somehow surprise and be the unexpected frontrunner. Don't think it's going to happen, but she could still get into Best Actress. And then there's the option that people won't nominate her for Best Actress, but she might still show up in supporting. And then there's the 3rd option, which is she might not even get nominated altogether now. Like, people just won't know where to place her. Like, some people might think, oh, I'll put her in Best Actress. Some people might put her in Best Supporting Actress, and then she just doesn't get enough votes to enter either. So that is an option, and yeah, I don't want to see it happen. I would like to see Michelle Williams get acknowledged for this performance, but at the moment, until I start seeing some other nominations and other awards bodies, like how are the Golden Globes gonna, where they're gonna put her, where are the SAG's gonna put her, where are the BAFTA's gonna put her, where are the Critics' Choice gonna put her. So until I start seeing which way the wind is blowing with Michelle Williams, I've not got her in my 5. Yeah, sorry, she's not there. That's subject to change. She could show up in Best Actress. I might end up putting her back in my Best Supporting Actress in a month or so's time. But for now, she's not on the board. She's just on the peripheries. So yeah, that's where I stand with Michelle Williams. Do let me know in the comment section below what you think of this whole Michelle Williams kerfuffle with the categories. Do you think she's making a mistake by being campaigned for lead? Do you think she's got a better chance in Best Actress or Supporting Actress? I don't know. Whatever you have to say about this whole kerfuffle or the category fraud of other categories, do let me know in the comment section down below. We haven't even got to Viola and Tuzo from The Woman King yet. I would love to see Viola Davis get a nomination for The Woman King. I absolutely love that film. I currently don't have Viola in my predicted 5, just because I'm not sure about The Woman King getting a Best Picture nomination. And if The Woman King were to get Best Picture nomination, I'd probably feel more confident about them giving Viola Davis an acting nomination for lead. But for now, she's just on the edge. We'll see how the wind blows in the next few months, but for now, she's on the edge. Here's the thing, I haven't actually seen Blonde yet, but ever since I saw the trailer for Blonde, I have kind of had Ana de Armas in my 5 since then, because it's just such an Academy bait role, like playing Marilyn Monroe. Even though the movie is divisive, Spencer was divisive. Like, people could see the quality of Kristen Stewart's performance last year, and she still got nominated by the Academy. So Ana de Armas, I am a little iffy on. She might not show up here, but she's just had such a tremendous few years. Her star's really been on the rise, and I could see this being the ingenue performance that gets in. I think this will be her first Oscar nomination, I hope. I mean, if she misses at other places, I might take her out, but for now, she's in there. And I've also got Margot Robbie, just from what I've seen of her in the trailer for Babylon. That trailer, I'm resting a lot of my predictions on just a trailer for Babylon alone. Like, you're gonna see Babylon a lot in these predictions. And yeah, I currently have Margot Robbie. Like, she is beloved by the Academy, and this looks like a really, really juicy role for her. So yeah, I've got her in there. It's kind of a wishful thinking pick. My picks could afford to be a little bit more diverse. Like, it would be good to have Viola Davis in there, or Danielle Deadwyler. Did I say that right? Sorry, it's Danielle Deadwyler for her performance as Mommy in Till. First reactions to this movie have been incredible, and she's getting a lot of the praise as well, so she could be one to watch out for. She could show up here, so yeah, until I see Till, which I will see at the London Film Festival, I don't have her in my 5. I might change my mind once I see her performance at the London Film Festival. Okay, so next up we have Best Actor, and top of the list is Brendan Fraser for his incredible performance in Darren Aronofsky's The Whale. I mean, I went to both Venice and TIFF, and the performance that was on everybody's lips at both those festivals was Brendan Fraser for The Whale. Like, and for good reason. Like, this is one of those career-reviving turnaround performances. One of those, go for broke performances from an actor who's kind of fizzled from the limelight for a little bit, but has just come back swinging, and it's just really hit people emotionally. Out of all the performances I've seen over the last few weeks, Brendan Fraser's is the one which hit me the hardest emotionally. The last 15 minutes of The Whale, I was bawling, and I wasn't the only one. Everyone has said the last 15 minutes of this movie was so exhausting emotionally because of how good Brendan Fraser's performance was. So yeah, it's a performance that it's very meaty, and I can see Brendan Fraser potentially taking this all the way to a Best Actor win. So I'm hoping so. Like, he's who I am championing. Like, it's one of my favorite performances I've seen of the year, and yeah, such a comeback performance. And I hope he's got that comeback narrative that works, for certain people, like it did for Matthew McConaughey, did for Nicolas Cage in Leaving Las Vegas. That's the film I've been comparing The Whale to. So yeah, 2023 might be the year of Brendan Fraser, but it's definitely not a done deal Best Actor yet, because at Venice, it was actually Colin Farrell that took home the Volpe Cup for Best Actor for the dark macabre comedy The Banshees of Inisherin by Martin McDonagh. Fantastic performance from Colin Farrell. Like, it's, you know, it's funny, but it's also very sad in places as well. Like, there's one scene in particular, something happens. And the emotionality in this scene is just, oh my god, I did not know that the movie was going to have that much of an emotional punch. Yeah, it doesn't punch as hard as Brendan Fraser does, but lord, it is a sucker punch, I'll say that. So yeah, Colin Farrell definitely on his way to get a first Oscar nomination. Oh yeah, same for Brendan Fraser, both be first time Oscar nominees. That's nice to just say, isn't it? Yeah. Interestingly though, Hugh Jackman, who we all thought was going to be like a credible contender this year, I'm not so confident about his chances anymore. I currently do have him in my 5. A lot of us were expecting the son to do for Hugh Jackman what the father did for Anthony Hopkins and be a real launching pad for him to go all the way to a Best Actor nomination, maybe even a win. But the problem is, the son isn't as crowd-pleasing as the father, sadly. It's quite polarizing, actually, because of its topics of depression, self-harm, and suicide, that it's actually ruffled a lot of feathers, and a lot of people really dislike this film. People still really liked Hugh Jackman's performance in it, but the film overall, not so much. Whereas everyone loved Anthony Hopkins' performance in The Father, but they also loved the movie as well. So is the negative response to The Son as a film overall going to affect Hugh Jackman's chances of getting nominated? I'm not sure. I think he could still do it, because people really do love Hugh Jackman, and he is so good in this movie. And it would be nice to see him get his second ever Oscar nomination. He hasn't been nominated since Les Miserables. God, how long ago was that? Like, over a decade now? I do still have Hugh Jackman in my predictions, but he's one that I can easily see myself taking out in favor of someone else, depending on how the race shapes, because we also do have some fantastic performances from Jeremy Pope in The Inspection. Incredible performance. Yep, I saw this one at TIFF. He just knocked me sideways, Jeremy Pope. Like, I've been a big fan of his for a while, but this is just like, wow. Seriously, wow. Yeah, so definitely could see Jeremy Pope getting here. Also, there's a lot of love for Bill Nighy for his performance in Living, which was this really sweet, really well-made drama about him finding out he has so many months left to live and him trying to make the most of life. And it's just a very, I don't know, tender performance from Bill Nighy. And I think we could see Bill Nighy maybe get his first ever nomination. It will be a first nomination for Jeremy Pope as well. Yeah, it could be a category with a lot of first-time nominees in it. But, you know, we still do have a lot of possible contenders in this category. I still do have Austin Butler in here, even though Elvis came out quite a while ago. That performance still hasn't left my memory. Like, it's living up here rent-free. And again, like Ana de Armas in Blonde, it's another type of Academy bait type role, you know. Performance of a real-life entertainer, a real icon like Elvis. Elvis and Marilyn going to the Oscars for sure. I can see that happening, yeah. So I do have Austin Butler. I don't think he's the front runner, but I do think he's a pretty secure nomination lock, I'd say. Like, he's definitely in there with Colin Farrell and Brendan Fraser, I think. And then the other two slots, a little bit more flexible at the moment, but we'll see how we go. What do you guys think of Best Actor? Do you think this is Brendan Fraser's to lose, or do you think there's someone else that we should be keeping an eye on? Whatever you have to say, let me know in the comment section down below. All right, so next up we have Best Supporting Actress, and originally in my article for the Evening Standard, I had Michelle Williams as my current pick for the winner of this, but now that she's chosen chaos, it's gonna be someone else's to take home, most likely, unless Michelle Williams somehow rebounds back into supporting actress, but I don't have her in my 5. She is in my alternates with a little asterisk, but yes, I currently don't have her in there. But yes, the person I actually currently have at number 1 is Kerry Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, because this performance was sensational. But even though The Banshees of Inisherin is essentially a double act between Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, Kerry Condon completely holds her own in this. I was so impressed by this performance. Like, it's one of those performances like Olivia Colman in The Favourite, where she does such a wonderful job of doing drama and comedy, sometimes simultaneously in the same scene, and the way that she like bounces back between different emotions, it's really impressive stuff. Like, the versatility that's on display from Kerry Condon is incredible. I don't think a lot of people actually really know who Kerry Condon is, but they're gonna know her name after this award season, because she is gonna be a player, I think, and I hope that she does go all the way with this. But there's other people I can see giving her a run for her money. Like, the race really hasn't taken shape in this category yet. Like, for all we know, it could be someone unexpected that ends up being the front runner. And I was saying, there's a lot of choice here. I think, as you can see, I have so many options from Women Talking. Like, literally, the entire cast of Women Talking is like in this list. So yeah, I currently have Jessie Buckley and Claire Foy in there because those were the two performances. Well, they're great, but also they're names. They're like mostly like household names out of the cast, and I can see the Academy gravitating towards them because they really do have some juicy parts in it. But I would also like to make an argument for Judith Ivey or Sheila McCarthy. They are two veteran performers. Again, not really well known to the extent that Claire Foy and Jessie Buckley are, but I would love to see one of them surprise here. Judith Ivey in particular. I really love that performance, so I would love to see Judith Ivey do it, but not so sure it's gonna happen for her. Another film which actually has a good selection of strong supporting female performances is Darren Aronofsky's The Whale, because we've got Sadie Sink, Hong Chow, and Samantha Morton. And while I know there's a lot of passion out there for Sadie Sink, I know she has a very strong fan base. Sadly, I don't think this is gonna be the year for Sadie Sink. It didn't happen for her at the Emmys with Stranger Things, and I don't think it's gonna happen for The Whale. Even though like her performance was good, I still think the performances of Samantha Morton and Hong Chow were better. And if I had to pick one of them to get in, I would probably go with Hong Chow. She gets this scene on the porch with Ty Simpkins' character. It's just a very Oscar clip moment. Like, you just know this is the clip that would show, like, if she was nominated. And yeah, Hong Chow absolutely delivers in this movie. She's had a very good year with this and The Menu, and she didn't get nominated for Downsizing a few years back, so maybe people think she's done some good work the past few years. Maybe now's the time. Maybe we should make up for that nomination she almost got for Downsizing but didn't get. And then there's Samantha Morton, who, like Hong Chow, has also had a very good year, not only with The Whale, with a very small but impactful role as Charlie, that's Brendan Fraser's character's ex-wife. She starts by for one scene, and it's very raw and passionate, but there's also a moment where it stops for them to be calm and quiet and together, and it's just, it's so emotional, this movie, God. Samantha Morton does a lot with just the one scene in this, but I feel like Hong Chow's just gets a bit more to work with and just stands out a little bit more. My concern that I said in my review was that because there's three very good supporting performances, they could cancel each other out. Maybe people won't know to place their votes for a supporting actress performance in The Whale. So yeah, we might not get a nomination for anyone in The Whale apart from Brendan Fraser when it comes to acting. So, but I would like to see Hong Chow here. I do have her in my picks at the moment, but we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping she's there. But back to Samantha Morton. She has another strong performance. Well, we haven't seen it yet, but she has another performance in She Said, which is the new Harvey Weinstein uncovering drama. No one's really seen it yet. It's going to be seen in a few days at the New York Film Festival. And we'll know then if it's what early Oscar predictors think will be a good supporting nomination performance. But yeah, she's playing Zelda, is it Perkins? Zelda Perkins, one sec. Yep, I was right, Zelda Perkins. She was the former assistant of Harvey Weinstein who came forward and spoke up against the movie mogul about all the sexual misconduct even after she signed an NDA back in the day. So it is a juicy part. So we could see that, maybe get a late surge of like support, and maybe Samantha Morton will show up for She Said. Maybe she'll show up for The Whale, maybe she won't get either. I currently have her getting in for She Said. Even though I haven't seen it, I've just put her there. It's just a feeling I'm having, okay? Sometimes you have a feeling about a certain role, and yeah, I've got Samantha Morton there. All right, so next up we have Best Supporting Actor. And much like last year's Best Supporting Actor race, I don't think we've got the full 5 performances figured out yet that are going to be nominated, because, yeah, it took a while for us to see the race forming between Troy Kotsur and Cody Smith-McPhee last year. I think it's going to be the same this year. Like, there's a lot of viable options for Best Supporting Actor, but no clear and outright front runners at the moment, but I'm sure we'll see in the coming weeks and months who is going to be like the real front runners, the real contenders. I actually think this could be another category where we see a lot of first time nominees in this category, which I'm all for. Let some other people in the club, okay? Like I said previously, The Banshees of Inisherin is a double act between Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. They've just announced that Brendan Gleeson is going to go supporting, so I have got him in this category currently, and I could see him potentially being a front runner because The Banshees of Inisherin is being really championed in terms of, like, a lot of people love it. It's one of the few films I've liked at both festivals where everyone I talked to has at the very least liked it. Most people seem to really love it, but I haven't found anyone that dislikes The Banshees of Inisherin yet. So yeah, I could see The Banshees of Inisherin doing well at the Academy Awards. And yeah, Brendan Gleeson might get his first long overdue Oscar nomination for it for Best Supporting Actor. Might even have a good chance of winning it, we'll see. I don't want to say too much about his performance because I know a lot of you haven't seen it yet, but I will say this, he makes a great second fiddle to Colin Farrell in The Banshees of Inisherin. Yeah, it's a double act performance. I know a lot of people say Colin Farrell is the lead and main character, and he is. I kind of see Brendan Gleeson as a co-lead, but there's enough ambiguity surrounding his character where he can be a supporting character or he could be a lead. But I think it makes more sense that they put him in supporting. I think he has got a better chance of winning it there. And it would be nice to see both Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson get their first ever Oscar nominations for this film, because they were the 2 stars of In Bruges, which was another Martin McDonagh film. So nice full circle moment if they finally get the justice for those nominations they didn't get for In Bruges and finally get them now with another Martin McDonagh film. I think Ben Whishaw has a good chance of landing his first Oscar nomination as well for Sarah Polley's Women Talking. The thing with Ben Whishaw is he is the only man in a cast that is filled with women. So for that reason, he does stand out. And yes, he might be the only man in a predominantly female film, which is a good advantage for him. But it's not like the performance isn't deserving. Like, he is good in the movie. Like, it's a very sweet, sensitive performance, and Ben Whishaw does get some really meaty moments in it. He gets some lovely scenes with Rooney Mara. And yeah, I think because Women Talking will be a player in certain categories like Screenplay and Director and Best Picture, they are going to think of the performances, and because he is a man in a predominantly female story, he's going to be in people's minds, and I think he could get into this category, and it would be nice because Ben Whishaw has been doing great work for like decades now. I've currently got Brian Tyree Henry in my 5 for his performance in Causeway. It's one of those performances where it's a bit of a wishful thinking pick because there's every chance Causeway could be one of those films that just flies under the radar this year, not enough people see, and it isn't in the awards discussion. I currently have him in here, firstly, to help spread awareness of this performance because he is so flipping good in it, and I'm hoping this is my way of contributing to his campaign by spreading the knowledge that he is amazing in this movie, and I would love to see, you know, this performance snowball for him. I hope he gets into like the BAFTAs and the SAGs and the Critics' Choice and all that. So yeah, I'm hoping by me talking about it, this helps in some way. Please go watch Causeway. Jennifer Lawrence is great in it. So is Brian Tyree Henry. And yeah, I think he's worthy of the performance. Of the nomination. But yes, I also think it's just a very deserving performance. And Brian Tyree Henry has been doing incredible work for the last few years, but he's never come across a role that's really grabbed the Academy's attention. So, yeah, I can see this being one where if it gets enough momentum, then maybe this is the one for Brian Tyree Henry, and I really want to see him in this category, guys. Very understatedly raw. Both him and Jennifer Lawrence are playing damaged individuals trying to recover from past trauma, and yeah, just another masterful display of subtextual acting. Like, Brian Tyree Henry does so much with a look or with a pause, and yeah, it's about damn time Brian Tyree Henry got his first ever nomination quite frankly. Similar to Brendan Fraser, Ke Huy Quan is another type of comeback kid performance that I could see maybe getting a Best Supporting Actor nomination. It's another one I can see also being snubbed and people just being mortified by the snubbery. But yeah, Ke Huy Quan disappeared from Hollywood for like 20 years and like he was such a, you know, beloved figure for movies in like The Goonies and Temple of Doom. So for him to come back and swing in a fanny pack as Michelle Yeoh's compassionate husband and getting some really beautiful, tender, emotional scenes as well. I could see him getting in and, you know, with the right, you know, support and love, maybe he could be a dark horse to win Best Supporting Actor. I don't think it's very likely we're going to get two like comeback kid narratives in the same year. I think it's more likely going to happen for Brendan Fraser given the caliber of the performance in The Whale. It would be nice to see it happen twice, also for Ke Huy Quan, but because Everything Everywhere came out so long ago, and it's also Michelle Yeoh's film, I don't know if the Academy will be that generous, but I would like to see it happen. That's kind of my fantasy pick of seeing Ke Huy Quan win in this category at the moment, but yeah, not sure it's gonna happen. I think if he does manage to get the nomination, that would still be a major win in itself. Just like, you go Academy, good on you for being progressive and picking more alternative picks, which are a little bit more comedic and out there, and yeah, because we don't see enough performances like that acknowledged, and it really is just such a wonderful fusion of comedy and drama from Ke Huy Quan, and yeah, I do want to see him in here, so just got a lot of love for him, and I hope to see him get a nomination. But yeah. When it comes to The Fabelmans, there are so many options for Best Supporting Actor nominations. As you can see, I've got a few here. I've currently gone with Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans. Judd Hirsch hasn't been nominated since 1981 for Ordinary People, so if he does get a nomination, he will hold the record for the longest gap between acting nominations ever at 42 years. The previous record was held by Henry Fonda with 41 years, so yeah, it would be nice to see Judd Hirsch get acknowledged again, but also I could see this being that small, impactful, juicy supporting role. Yeah, he only has maybe he has less than 10 minutes screen time, I'd say, and he has maybe 2 scenes. But you know what? He makes an impact. It's funny. It affects the plot significantly and how he has an impact on young Steven Spielberg. It's not Steven Spielberg, but I forget the character's name. Sorry, it's Sammy. There we go. Sammy Spielberg or Sammy Fabelman. But yeah, Judd Hirsch comes in, does his thing, and he's constantly in your head for the remainder of the film. Like he really does leave that impact. It's kind of the definition of a supporting performance. Now, one that really supports the main character and, you know, has an influential effect on the movie and the impact of it all. So yes, Judd Hirsch is currently who I have picked at number 1. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm currently putting him there because I can afford to put him there at the moment because we've got so much race to go. And yeah, I think he does have kind of that like fun narrative of like honoring a veteran, you know, later in their career, someone as beloved as Judd Hirsch. And I could see the Academy just getting behind Judd Hirsch. He will have some competition from other people from his own movie, because like Paul Dano, again, like Paul Dano's another one who's never had an Oscar nomination, could show up here, and maybe they will give 2 nominations for The Fabelmans, but I could see, personally, I feel like Judd Hirsch might get him, even though Paul Dano has more screen time, Judd Hirsch leaves a bigger impact, so I could see Judd Hirsch squeezing out Paul Dano, but then again, I could see the reverse happening as well, and I could see them both getting here. I could see neither of them getting nominated. Maybe Seth Rogen will be the surprise wild card nomination of this movie. We'll see. But yeah, honestly, I'm not sure at this point. This is why it's fun to guess at this point, because we just don't know. Like, it's so early. We don't know which way, you know, voters are gonna like get behind, who's gonna have the best campaign, who's gonna have the most love backing them. You know, these are all factors that are still up in the air. We just don't know, guys. But yeah, what do you guys think of Best Supporting Actor? Okay, so next up we have Best Original Screenplay. And now that The Banshees of Inisherin won Best Screenplay at Venice, it seems to have taken an early lead, but I currently have Everything Everywhere All at Once just because I've got my love goggles on. In terms of originality, I think it's super original, and the Academy have been championing more out there original films in the past few years with Promising Young Woman and Get Out and Parasite. So I could see a pathway to Everything Everywhere All at Once winning Best Original Screenplay. We'll see how things go though, because The Banshees of Inisherin could easily win this because it's Martin McDonagh and the writing is dark but sophisticated and just very crowd-pleasing. So yeah, Martin McDonagh could easily win this for the Banshees. I did notice I do have a fair few comedies in my selections for this category, like in my 5, but also in my alternates. Like we could see Ruben Östlund's Palme d'Or winning Triangle of Sadness getting in here. Like that film did very well at TIFF. People really responded to it positively. Like, is it gaining momentum? Maybe. It is a satire of class, which is always fun to poke fun at. So maybe. I currently do have Nicholas Stollers and Billy Agnes Bros in my 5. I know that might seem like a weird choice because it is a rom-com, but this movie was such a crowd pleaser at TIFF, and I'm curious to see how it does well with the public, but I've got it in my 5 now because I'm playing devil's advocate and I want to see it nominated because this script was so flippin' funny and so smart, and every now and then the Academy do acknowledge a comedy like Bridesmaids or The Big Sick, and Bros is kind of a landmark milestone movie in terms of it being the first big studio gay LGBTQ plus rom-com, and it is such a sharp script. It's so funny. So I could see Bros showing up here. I put it in my 5. There's a chance I might move it down in a few months' time, but for now, I'm hoping it gets in, and that's why it's in there. There was a lot of fanfare at Venice for Todd Field's screenplay for Tar. Like, I'll say this, it is a very well-written movie in terms of the vocabulary. Like, it's very eloquent, it's very well-written. The type of movie that I had to Google certain words after it came out because I was like, what does that word mean? My only concern is, which I mentioned in my review, is that the film is a little bit pretentious, and like, is it too pretentious to the point where it's off-putting? So, because sometimes we just don't like an ostentatious screenplay, so maybe it's not gonna get in. The Fabelmans is written by Tony Kushner, who wrote the screenplay for West Side Story, but also this is Spielberg's first ever writing credit on a screenplay since Artificial Intelligence. That was back in, 2001? So yeah, we could see a pathway for Steven Spielberg getting a nomination for a screenplay here, but here's another one I could see rotating out for someone else. Could we see a potential nomination for Decision to Leave? Very possibly. Don't have it in my 5 right now, but we'll see how it goes. When it comes to Best Adapted Screenplay, it does feel like there is a clear and obvious frontrunner for this category, and that is Sarah Polley for Women Talking. This screenplay, it grabs you. Like, it's one of those films where the dialogue leaps off the screen. It's an adaptation of Miriam Toe's novel of the same name, and it's a ferocious yet eloquent criticism of patriarchal oppression. So yes, even though this is a period film, it is very timely. It's the type of urgent, topical talkie that's too beautifully articulated to go ignored. So right now I do have Women Talking taking it home. We might see another female-driven story, She Said, make a bigger impact, but I don't know, the screenplay really did shine for Women Talking. So it's gonna take a lot for me to take that one down off the top spot. Yeah, I've got She Said in my 5 at the moment. Glass Onion! Rian Johnson actually got a Best Original Screenplay nomination for the first Knives Out film, and the sequel, Glass Onion, is an incredibly written script. He takes some risks with the structure, which pay off spectacularly. So yeah, I would like to see Glass Onion get a nomination for Best Adapted Screenplay, see how it goes. Originally, I did have 2 stage adaptations in this category, The Son and The Whale. Now that I've seen The Son, I've taken it out because, yeah, I don't think the screenplay is as strong as The Father. Remember, Florian Zeller's The Father ended up winning Best Adapted Screenplay, so you can understand why I would put The Son in there. But yeah, given the divisive reactions to The Son, as well as a lot of the dialogue being on the nose, I don't think it's getting in this time around. I do have The Whale still in there, even though I don't think the script is particularly groundbreaking. I do think it could show up in here. I don't think The Whale is a guarantee, but I think it has a better chance than The Son. Costume design. Currently, I do have Catherine Martin at number 1 for Elvis. The reason for that is because, well, one, Elvis is a fashion icon, and there were so many amazing Elvis outfits in that movie, so yes, I can see the Academy going for that. But also, every time Catherine Martin does make a film with her husband, Baz Luhrmann, she does tend to get nominated, and has won in the past for Great Gatsby and Moulin Rouge. I've got Black Panther Wakanda Forever because Ruthie Carter did win the Oscar for the last Black Panther movie, and from the trailer, she seems to have upped the ante again, so yes, she's in here. I do also have The Woman King, which is by Gersha Phillips. Yeah, the costume designs in The Woman King are so detailed, so beautiful. And I currently do have Chevalier in here because it's that type of classic period type of film that the Academy usually like to acknowledge. Yeah, I could see a film like Blonde or Corsage showing up here. I haven't seen Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris yet, but I've heard a lot of people saying that's got some incredible costume work in it, so yeah, you might see that in here. Production design. Again, like costume design, I've got Hannah Beachler in here for Black Panther Wakanda Forever because like the first Black Panther won in that category, so I can't not put that in here for now. Rick Carter does some incredible production design in The Fabelmans. I currently do have Don't Worry Darling in here. This is kind of like a fantasy pick because I know the response to Don't Worry Darling hasn't been great, but there's no denying it's one of the best looking films of 2022, and a lot of that comes down to the production design, like the aesthetic for this film, the 50s nostalgic housewife look. It's incredible. Like it's really idyllic and picturesque, that film. And I think the detail, especially in Florence Pugh and Harry Styles' house, is, you know, it's pristine, it's picture perfect. Babylon, again, just because of the trailer. I currently have All Quiet on the Western Front here because the sets for this film really did impress me. Much like 1917 did when they actually dug out all the trenches and shot those really immersive action sequences. This is the same with All Quiet on the Western Front. It's very well done, and like it's very lived in, it's very muddy, it's very brutal. So yeah, I could see All Quiet on the Western Front getting in here. But who knows, maybe Catherine Martin might get the double nomination again for costume design and production design for Elvis. I loved the sets for Glass Onion, particularly the Glass Onion itself and the manor of Edward Norton. It's very well decorated, and I just think it really gave the film a lot of its personality. So I would like to see Glass Onion in here. Don't have it in my 5, but it's kind of a fantasy pick. Even though Bardo wasn't warmly received, I could see a potential production design nomination. Like the sets in it were incredible because they really did add to that feeling that you were in a dream because they kind of bled into each other. Like one minute you'd be in a bedroom and then the bedroom would show you all the sand, which like goes into a cascading desert, and it's just little details like that, which just, the way that scenes bleed into each other through the production design is just very dreamlike. So I could see it maybe showing up here. But yeah, there's so many good choices for set design this year. The Batman, Everything Everywhere All at Once, the cinema of Empire of Light is a character in itself which deserves a nomination. The Woman King as well has some incredible sets. There's a lot of contenders in this one. Those are the 5 I've got now, but yeah, it could look very different in a few months' time. Cinematography. Good lord, this is another stacked category again this year. I don't know who's winning this just yet, but come on, we've got Roger Deakins doing Empire of Light, Janusz Kaminski doing The Fabelmans, Linus Sangren doing Babylon. I personally really loved Ben Davis' cinematography for The Banshees of Inisherin because that's a film where it's naturally lit, both outside and inside. He also does a really good job of capturing the cold isolation of living on this fictional island of Inisherin. Greg Fraser took home his first ever Oscar for cinematography last year with Dune. Could he show up again for The Batman? I mean, the movie did come out earlier in the year. Has it left people's minds? But I don't know how you can ignore a film like The Batman. It's just so beautiful. At the same time, part of me thinks, would they be biased towards, you know, a murky, gloomy, broody superhero film like The Batman? Maybe. I'm not sure they'll view The Batman in the same artistic spotlight as they did Dune. But I also have All Quiet on the Western Front in here because it is an exquisitely shot movie. I don't think we're going to see a lot of nominations for Nope, sadly, but if it were to show up somewhere, I think maybe Hoyt van Hoytma could do it for cinematography. But yeah, this is another one which is really tough to choose from, so yeah. Those are my 5, but yeah, it's subject to change. Editing. Now, as you guys probably already know, best editing is an important category at the Oscars because it has a strong correlation to Best Picture. Which makes sense because the editors are the ones who put everything together in order to make the Best Picture contenders. So yes, it makes sense why I would see a correlation between editors and Best Picture. So it makes sense to put films that you think are going to be nominated for Best Picture in the editing category. However, it also helps if your film has noticeable editing, like if it's flashy, if it's editing that's really out there and grabs your attention. So I've gone for a little mix of like films which I think are Best Picture contenders and also films with editing that's very noticeable. So Best Picture contenders, The Fabelmans is an obvious one. Also got Babylon, Even though no one's seen this film yet, the fact that it's an ode to Hollywood from Damien Chazelle and the trailer is just very wild and audacious, yeah, I've got it in here. I could also see something like Women Talking getting in here, or The Banshees of Inisherin. Even though the editing isn't particularly grabby, they might gravitate to more subtle editing this year. You never know. Like, it'd be nice to see films with subtle editing get nominations, but typically, you're more likely to see films like Top Gun Maverick get in because of the grand action set pieces, or something like All Quiet on the Western Front. I currently have Everything Everywhere All at Once as my #1 pick, partly because it's a fantasy pick of me wanting to see Everything Everywhere winning Best Picture, and an editing win would help with that. But also, like, the editing in Everything Everywhere is insanely good. Like, Paul Rogers, who did the editing, had a huge task of taking this multiverse hopping, story with so many different genres, sci-fi, drama, comedy, kung fu, and like gluing them all together and making it feel cohesive. And he absolutely did that. Like, he brought it all together. It really holds up so well, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and a lot of that comes down to Paul Rogers' editing. So it's a deserving first placement. But if I'm being honest, the best editing that I've seen all year has to go to Decision to Leave, which I do have in my 5. Not a whole lot of people have this in their 5s at the moment, like on Gold Derby. I'm hopefully leading the way for it, because yeah, the editing in Decision to Leave is so crisp and elegant. Like, it's noticeable editing, but it's supremely well done. Like, the transitions between scenes to scenes are just so poetic and immaculate. Like, it's a film that just flows so beautifully from one scene to the next. The film has a pulse because of the editing. Like, it's just so elegantly put together. And yeah, I think the editor, what's his name? Sang Byung Kim, absolutely deserves a nomination, and I could potentially see winning it. We'll see how Decision to Leave does in other categories. If it gets a Best Picture nomination, then an editing nomination might be on the cards. Yeah, those are my current picks. We'll see how things go. Makeup and hair. This is a category where I think we have a frontrunner for, and that is for The Whale, mostly because of the very believable looking fat suit that Brendan Fraser's wearing. Apparently it was 3D printed, this fat suit, and it is so plausibly believable. Like, it looks so fleshy. The way it hangs, like when he's in the shower bathing himself, the way water runs off of it is utterly convincing. The Academy loves some prosthetics, whether it's Darkest Hour or Vice or The Eyes of Tammy Faye last year. I can see The Whale being the thing that makes them go, oh, this is it, yes. So yeah, I've got The Whale currently in first place. I would like to see the Batman get in here. There's some great prosthetics on Colin Farrell, who played the Penguin. Like, he was unrecognizable in that. But yeah, Chevalier, Elvis, X, Babylon, like, any of these films could show up here. Best visual effects. I mean, I think I can say with some confidence, without having seen the movie or a sneak peek of it or anything like that this is gonna go to Avatar: Way of Water. Like, it's actually quite arrogant to think we already have a lock to win in this category when no one's even seen the movie, but it's like, it's James Cameron doing an Avatar movie, which was, a big technical sweeper back when the first film came out. So yeah, the fact that James Cameron has delayed this movie for so long, to make the visuals look as impressive as possible, means it's gonna go to Avatar: Way of Water. Everyone else is just, filling up a slot. Like, I feel really confident about that already, even though, like, there's so many other great films that deserve acknowledgement for their visual effects, like Babylon, or The Batman, or Everything Everywhere All at Once, or Black Panther. Best sound! I've currently got Top Gun Maverick as my #1 pick for this. It's just a very immersive, whoosh type of movie. Like, it really puts you there in the cockpit, and you really do feel like you're there, and a part of that is to do with the sound. So yeah, I've currently got Top Gun Maverick in here. I've also got Avatar: Way of Water, see how that sounds. And typically films where there's a lot of music get in here, so I could see Elvis getting a nomination. Best score. Now, when it comes to the score I want to see win this, it is currently Michael Giacchino for The Batman. That score has stayed with me ever since I saw The Batman way back earlier in the year. So yeah, I would very much like to see The Batman in this category. Part of me is concerned that because it's a superhero movie, maybe they won't acknowledge it, but I'm hoping the Academy isn't biased towards it and Michael Giacchino gets in. I also really love the score in The Fabelmans, John Williams. It's very magical and beautiful, and yeah, it's John Williams. Who loves some John Williams? I've got Babylon in here, again, just from the trailer, and also the fact that it's Justin Hurwitz, who is a regular collaborator with Damien Chazelle, and I can see him getting nominated for Babylon. And also, Women Talking was a score that I was very emotionally invested in. It was a very arresting score from Hilda. God, I'm gonna butcher her name up. Dear. God, yeah, I can never get her last name right, I'm so sorry. I currently do have Empire of Light in here. Even though the movie has had middling reviews, a lot of people will agree the technical aspects of that film are amazing. The cinematography, the production design, and the score is beautiful. Like, the first few notes of Empire of Light, which is like guiding you on this tour of the set of the cinema of the movie, it's so beautiful. Absolutely lush score. I could see it potentially showing up here. But it's also one I could see getting bumped for something else if Empire of Light isn't as warmly received by the public. When it comes to best song, I feel like I confidently know who the winner's gonna be in this category, and that's Lady Gaga for Top Gun Maverick with the song Hold My Hand. That song is classic. Timeless already, like it just feels like a Best Picture winner song. So I feel confident she's gonna get a second ever Oscar for Best Original Song. But as the other 4 slots, I've got no clue on who's going to be here. Could One Republic get a nomination for the song that they also did for Top Gun Maverick? Like, what's it called, that song? I Ain't Worried, yeah, by One Republic. Could that song maybe get in here? I don't know if it's eligible, I need to double check that, but that song has been a real grower, a real like pop-friendly radio hit this summer, so maybe it'll show up in this category, I don't know. Some people are asking me if Harry Styles' song from Don't Worry Darling could get in here. Not so sure, because it's not really a big moment in the movie, and like even the song itself, there's only a few lyrics spoken from the song, so it's not like a big memorable moment in the movie, even though the song itself is important to the story. But yeah, would the Academy maybe just give Harry Styles a nom, just so they could have more star power at the Oscars and have him sing, help with the ratings? I don't know. Maybe. I currently have the song from Bros in here. I have scoured the internet to try and find the name of this song because I didn't write it down in my notes while I was at TIFF, and it's like driving me crazy. I was hoping some other reviewer out there wrote it into a review, but I just could not find the name of this song anywhere. But yeah, there's a song at the end of Bros in the final act, which Billy Eichner sings to Luke McFarlane, and it's a really sappy but funny song, and it's beautiful, and I could see it getting into Best Song because it is a memorable moment from the movie, and I could see it being nominated. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it really is it's a moment in the movie, and I'm sure when more people see the movie, they'll agree with me. So yeah, I currently do have Bros in here. Don't know what the name of the song is. If you do know the name of the song, pop it in the comments section. Help me with this dilemma. I currently do have On My Way from Marry Me in there. I just like that song. I'm not saying it actually will be nominated, but I put it in there just because there's so few other songs I can pick from at the moment. But also I just love Jennifer Lopez, and I would like to see her get a nomination. Like, she was snubbed for that Best Supporting Actress nom for Hustlers, so yeah, maybe they'll feel guilty and be like, okay, let's give one to J-Lo. We'll have a sing at the awards ceremony. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Could we see a nomination for RRR with Natu Natu? Maybe. Like, that film has had incredible word of mouth buzz, so, and it's not going to be nominated for Best International Feature because India did not select it. Why? But yes, maybe it could show up in other categories like Best Song. Like, it seems plausible enough. This is a weird category because I feel like I know the winner, but I honestly don't know who the other 4 slots are going to go to. I feel like the 5 I've got is probably going to look very different to the 5 I'll have in 5 months' time. Best Animated Feature. Currently got Turning Red as my #1 pick, even though Lightyear was the first post-pandemic Pixar film to get a cinematic release date. So I still do have Lightyear in my 5, mostly because it's a Pixar film, and as we've seen in the past, don't bet against Pixar, because more often than not, they do make it into the category. I just feel like Turning Red has more to say as a film. I think it's going to speak to a lot more voters. It's just a film with a more important topic about female puberty and coming to terms with that. It's got more to say than what Lightyear does, which is, a film about, teamwork and making mistakes and overcoming that. So I feel like Turning Red is just a little bit more profound and just a little bit braver. So I think Turning Red is currently my #1 pick. I think Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is gonna get a nomination. Like, just every time I see someone tweeting about that movie. It's about how they've fallen in love with that movie. So I think Marcel, the show with shoes on, is going to get in here. I have got Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio in here, even though nobody's seen the film yet, but it's Guillermo del Toro. They do love him at the Academy, and him doing Pinocchio, it's like a match made in heaven. So it's there's no way it can be worse than a Disney live action movie. So hopefully this movie washes the bad taste of that live action movie out of everyone's mouths and goes, okay, yeah, let's give a nod to Guillermo. He deserves it. Capped off my 5 with Stranger World, but could totally see Wendell and Wild getting in here. The Bad Guys, maybe? That's probably the best DreamWorks movie I've seen since How to Train Your Dragon. It wouldn't totally surprise me to see something like Minions: The Rise of Gru get in here. Best documentary feature, I've currently got All the Beauty and the Bloodshed at number 1, just because of its triumphant success at the Venice Film Festival. I haven't seen enough of the documentaries to give you an informed opinion. This is just based off of like what I've seen on Gold Derby and reactions on Twitter. Everything else is just a guess at this point. I'm going to try catch some of these documentaries at the London Film Festival, and hopefully I'll have a better opinion in the next predictions video a month down the line. Oh yeah, if you want to stay up to date with all my Oscar predictions videos, be sure to click that subscribe button. Best international feature. We've got a lot of good options here, but currently I'm seeing this as a two-way race between Park Chan-wook's Decision to Leave, representing South Korea, and Edward Berger's All Quiet on the Western Front, representing Germany. These two movies have made such an impact on people. Like, they're both very well executed. One is a taut Hitchcockian thriller, Decision to Leave, and the other is a gritty, bloody, visceral war epic, All Quiet on the Western Front, a la 1917 and Saving Private Ryan, which were Academy darlings. So I can see it going either way with those films. I can see both of them getting other nominations in other categories. Like, I can see Decision to Leave getting a Best Director nomination for Park Chan-wook. More on that shortly. I could see Edward Berger maybe getting a director nomination. Not as confident as Park Chan-wook, but still possible. But I could see it being nominated in the technical categories, All Quiet on the Western Front, like sound, cinematography, production design, even editing. Like, these are not out of the questions, these films. And the same goes with editing for Decision to Leave. They're both so well done. So yeah, those are the two that I'm feeling quite confident on. It's going to be the race between. But again, still early. We'll see how it goes. Could something else surprise here? Like, Saint Omer is France's submission, probably because of its success at Venice. But don't know if I see it all the way going. I can't see it being as popular as Decision to Leave or Quiet on the Western Front. I do wonder to myself, if India had the gall to actually submit RRR as their submission for Best International Feature this year, would it have been a very different race? Would that have been the runaway film of the year? But just because it's not getting into Best International Feature doesn't mean that RRR can't get into Best Picture. But time will tell. Best Directing. Now, just like editing, this is another category which has a strong correlation to Best Picture. So it makes sense to go with directors where you think their films are going to have a good chance of winning Best Picture. So I have obviously got Steven Spielberg in here. Like, The Fabelmans won the People's Choice Award at TIFF, meaning that is a credible frontrunner for Best Picture, and therefore Steven Spielberg is a credible frontrunner for Best Director as well. Interesting fact, Steven Spielberg has only won Best Director twice, once for Schindler's List and once for Saving Private Ryan. So yeah, this could be potentially his third ever win for Best Director. That would bring his directing nomination tally at the Oscars to 9. What Steven Spielberg also has is a narrative that could work in his favor, which is that he has hit the diamond milestone age of 75 years old and is probably the most beloved filmmaker of all time. If the Academy are feeling sentimental, they might think to themselves, oh, we probably should honor Spielberg. What better way to celebrate a rich body of work, his phenomenal career, than by honoring the film which dramatizes his childhood and how he fell in love with the medium of film. It's poetic, it's sweet, it's sentimental, it's sappy. Yeah, it could be Spielberg's year, we'll see. Canadian filmmaker Sarah Polley could get her first ever directing nomination at the Oscars for Women Talking. Yep, she's definitely a contender. And if she wins, it would be the third consecutive win for women to win the directing award at the Oscars. First being Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, then just last year we had Jane Campion with The Power of the Dog. Could Sarah Polley go for the hat trick? We shall see. But yeah, the direction in Women Talking is very arresting. Like, it's very beautifully done, so she could definitely show up here. South Korean filmmaker Park Chan-wook won Best Director at this year's Cannes Film Festival for his romantic thriller Decision to Leave, but he has never been nominated for directing at the Academy Awards, which is criminal. This is the band that gave us The Handmaiden and Oldboy, so he definitely has an overdue narrative working in his favor, Park Chan-wook, and thanks to his very Hitchcockian style storytelling and Decision to Leave, this might be the year that he finally gets it. And I do think there is a pathway for Park Chan-wook to win, because as we've seen in recent years, directing is actually a category where the Academy has been very inclusive of acknowledging international filmmakers. Not only have we seen a lot of women been winning in this category recently, but a lot of international directors as well, with the Mexican trilogy of Three Amigos with Alfonso Cuarón, Alejandro Inarritu, and Guillermo del Toro winning, 5 times between them in the last 10 years. And we also had Ang Lee, Bong Joon-ho as well, and the only white winners were Jane Campion and Damien Chazelle. So we could see them, championing another international filmmaker who hasn't had their dues yet with Park Chan-wook, and I think maybe Park Chan-wook could go all the way. He's currently arrived at number 1. I could change that. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, currently I quite like his narrative and what history has shown us the last few years and the past decade. So yeah, I'm going with Park Chan-wook at the moment. Might change it in coming months. Maybe to something like Damien Chazelle for Babylon, if that film, is as rapturous as the trailer is making it out to be. I do feel pretty confident of Damien Chazelle getting a slot, even though no one's seen the film yet. But yeah, the direction, just from the trailer alone, is orgasmic. So yeah, I've got high hopes with Damien Chazelle. I think he can definitely do it. But who's gonna get the 5th slot? I'm honestly not sure. It could go to any number of people. It could go to Edward Berger for All Quiet on the Western Front. It could go to Martin McDonagh. He's never had a directing number 4. He came so close with 3 Billboards, but just missed it. So maybe they might acknowledge him this time around for directing, who knows? Or maybe the Academy will go for something bold and unexpected, like Joseph Kosinski with Top Gun Maverick, or Daniels with Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I would definitely not rule out James Cameron for Avatar: Way of Water. Yes, I know it is a sequel to a sci-fi movie, no less, but he did get nominated for the previous one. And if anyone's gonna break the sequel curse for sci-fi movies, it's James Cameron, because there's no questioning the Academy loves James Cameron's direction, so yeah, he could still make the cut. Yeah, those are my current 5. Want to hear from you guys. Who are you predicting for director? Well, last but by certainly no means least, we have Best Picture. And I've kind of listed my 10 picks in order of most likely to least likely. So the ones at the bottom are ones I'm a bit iffy on, that might miss the cut, might not get in. And the ones at the top I feel fairly confident on. And then I've got all my alternates below those. So we need to see how the race is going to go. But yeah, the ones I'm feeling very confident on right now are The Fabelmans and Women Talking. I can definitely see them getting in here. I was hoping to feel more confident about Sam Mendes' Empire of Light, but sadly the reviews have been a bit lukewarm for that movie. It's definitely not on the same level of love and appreciation as his previous film 1917 or Skyfall. So Empire of Light I do currently have in here, but I'm not confident on just yet. I'm hoping audience reactions are going to be a bit more kind to it, and it's just going to have a lot of love, because it is one of those, magic of the movie type movies which the Academy usually gobbles up, like Belfast or The Fabelmans. So yeah, I can see it still getting in here because it is Academy catnip. I'm also quite confident Banshees of Inisherin will get in here. Searchlight usually gets a slot, and I think they're gonna really champion Banshees for a good campaign. I'm quite confident on the Banshees of Inisherin getting in here because Colin Farrell's probably gonna get in for Best Actor, and there is a strong correlation between Best Actor nominated performances getting nominated in Best Picture as well. So I can see Banshees doing it. That's why I have The Whale on here as well, but just sort of coattailing off the strength of Brendan Fraser's performance. So I can see, Banshees definitely getting in. The Whale, not as confident as Banshees, but still getting in, but have a little bit more to be concerned about with that one that might just miss. But yeah, still got The Whale in here. I do have Park Chan-wook's Decision to Leave in here. The Academy has always tried to get at least one non-English speaking film in the last few years, and I could see Decision to Leave being that film. It's very classic, it's very stylish, it's got a really good response at both Cannes and TIFF, And yeah, I can see a potential directing nomination for Park Chan-wook. So that's why I feel like it could be the, token non-English speaking film to make it in this year. Who knows, we might get two. We might get All Quiet on the Western Front, you never know. But yeah, I've got Decision to Leave in here. Not so confident on All Quiet on the Western Front yet. Let's see how it goes, because there's a lot of like Netflix films this year, and I'm just not sure if All Quiet on the Western Front is the one they're going to really channel all their energies into, you know, but we'll see. I do have Everything Everywhere All at Once here because it is the cinematic success story of the year. It defied all the odds, has made so much money, and it is, you know, it's critically loved, it's commercially successful, it needs to be celebrated, and a Best Picture nomination is deserving, and I would like to see it win, but again, it's not in my top 3 at the moment, but I do want to see how it does at other awards ceremonies. Who knows, it could be the little movie that could this year, like Moonlight or Coda, like the small indie hit film that resonates more with Academy voters rather than them going with conventional films like The Fabelmans or Belfast. They're going for something a little bit more crowd-pleasing, but maybe smaller in terms of size and budget. I do have She Said in here because it feels like the Academy are going to want to pat themselves on the back by acknowledging the film, which tells the story of, you know, the women taking down the tyrant of the industry, Harvey Weinstein. Like, I can't see them not wanting to acknowledge that film unless the movie's like really bad, but I can't see it being a bad film. So yes, I can see She Said getting in here. I also have put Top Gun Maverick in here. Like, there's a lot of like big crowd-pleasing movies I wanted to put in here, like Glass Onion and The Woman King. But typically the Academy will only select a handful of like big crowd-pleasing, money-making movies a year. Like, they like their Best Picture nominees to be quite sophisticated. They like to pick really classy films from really prestigious directors. So yeah, getting the movies that get bums in seats don't always get acknowledged, but I can see Top Gun getting in. Like, everybody just loves that movie. It's a dad-tastic movie. Like, I can see older gentlemen, members of the Academy voting for it, and yeah, it's made the most money this year. It's the most profitable film of 2022, so maybe they will just give Top Gun, even though it's a sequel, Top Gun Maverick a Best Picture nomination. So yeah, I've got it in there, see how it plays, but yeah, those are my current 10 picks for Best Picture, guys. What do you guys think of them? Do you want to hear your predictions for Best Picture and all the categories? Yeah, whatever you have to say about this year's Oscars race, who you think we need to watch out for, which films might be a late surge surprise in the release schedule. Whatever you have to say about this year's award season, let your voice be heard in the comment section down below, guys. Love hearing from you. If you have enjoyed this video, please do help support the channel by hitting the little thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, I do make a lot of Oscar season content, like prediction videos and discussion pieces. If you like lots of movie, TV, and Oscars related content, please do help me out by hitting that subscribe button. And if you want to follow me on my socials, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, TikTok, it's all in that video description down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Carefield, and I'll see you next time. I have no popcorn, but yeah. See you next time. At least I don't have to pick up any popcorn for once.